Woo! Hey everybody, Jim Salmons here, and welcome to the Kayak Fishing Show live. As always, brought to you by Ballast Point Brewing Company, Seigler, Jackson Kayak, Warner Paddles, Standard Horizon, Yak Attack, Seigler Reels, and a band of anglers, and Ray Marine, and our good friends at NRS. Congratulations to our winner last week. And of course, I don't even have it in front of me, but we gave away a $100 gift certificate from Yak Attack. So thank you, Yak Attack, for doing that. I know they've been in contact with each other, and so we do have a winner there. So that was very, very cool of them to do that. As far as what's going on here locally, we've had a little bit of a storm. I haven't been able to get out. As some of you may know, I mentioned I had a torn rotator cuff, so I had to have an injection in my shoulder. And then my back went south, and, you know, all that fun stuff that goes along with falling apart and getting old. But along with that, I think I mentioned it last week, we have decided that we're postponing an airing season. So we will not be airing a new on TV airing season in 2022. We'll begin shooting in 2022 and airing in 2023. We just got such a late start with my changing hands with my producer and everything that I just didn't feel like we were going to be able to make some good shows. And then the kind of health issues I've had wasn't able to even be again shooting. You know, we'd be doing all of our shooting in winter, and God knows that's not exactly the best time for a lot of the stuff, particularly the offshore pelagic stuff that I like to do. So we'll be back on air. We'll still be doing all this stuff. We'll still be doing the social media end of things, but so that's what's going on with the show. This episode that we're in today, we went to Virginia. You guys saw part one last week. This is kind of continued on with the same group of guys, Josh Dolan, but we're joined with, I think Luther's actually in this episode from Yak Attack, as well as the guys from that reel company, Seigler. So with that, I'm so stoked because Wes is going to join me here today, and we don't get him on here near enough because he always makes me laugh, and we always give each other a hard time. I'm glad you put your shirt back on, Wes.
I didn't have my shirt off.
I saw you. I saw you flexing.
I wasn't flexing. You're so full of it.
Man. So, like
nice hat.
Isn't that
we called each other?
We could be twins.
Yep.
Yeah. Except for that whole thing that you're in good shape and I'm not.
No, I'm not. I'm broken down too.
Please.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then you decided to come out to Virginia in April and try to fish, which is the hardest time, I think, on the day.
You know what? I think what happened with this is, honestly, we weren't looking for a great fishing episode per se, because we needed 2 more episodes for the end of the season. So that's why we did a kind of a Yak Attack, how it's done or how it's made. And then we went over and saw you guys and did the how it's made. But we got some fishing in and had a lot of fun.
That's for sure.
Yeah,
Justin.
I don't remember. Well, I know we went on a snakehead hunt.
That's right.
And I think I kicked everybody's ass on the micro stripers.
Yes, you did. And I was just following you guys around. Feeding.
That's right. You didn't even get in a kayak.
No. I was in the skiff and just hanging out behind y'all and teasing you and picking on y'all.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of that's. I don't know how much that was on film. But it was
that's you know, a lot of stuff like that doesn't make it on the episodes. But that's it. We don't need to have great fishing to have good times. I mean, it's just like we just laughed our butts off the whole time. But before we get to the episode, and we haven't had a chance to talk in a while. It's been a crazy couple of years with the COVID.
Yeah.
How's that affected you guys? I mean, I know it's all, you guys are all made in America. So you're not subject to your reels aren't sitting in a container ship sitting offshore waiting to come imported.
Right.
So you have a huge advantage there. But what about you guys on getting parts? Have you guys had any issues getting stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is just the flow. I mean, I think the last show we did, you and I were in California. And you remember they were talking about this virus and Shimano pulled out. And I think you and I were like, thinking it's not a big deal. And then we went to like whatever, and they didn't even have rubbing alcohol. They didn't have anything. And it was really before it started. And, but after that, it was shock. Cause I mean, from employee side to, supply chain wasn't too bad. I mean, we all our stuff comes from the U.S. All the aluminum's from U.S. foundries, and so it's all stateside. But what happens is like a delivery truck driver, he might be out sick, or just all those little small things where things were like, instead of getting it twice a week, we get it once a week, and then it got to going to every 2 weeks we get supplies. So then we just kept we started worrying about it and watching it. And then probably about 6 months ago, it started getting constrained where certain industries, the gun industry was buying just a crazy amount of aluminum. I mean, and all kinds of metal. And then it started going where, people weren't getting it as much. So, I mean, we still were fine, but our biggest challenge is still people, I mean, we had guys at the shop that, were scared for their families to keep working. We kind of made a rule, just don't, you come to work, you go straight home, stay, just be real responsible. If we hang out together after work. But that's hard. We lost probably 3 or 4 people from just not getting COVID, but just decided they just wasn't what they wanted to do. And, now we're down to like 7 people.
Well, I was about to say, I mean,
it's light,
you guys are, people don't realize it. I mean, probably, but you guys are a small shop. So to lose even one person,
right,
it's got to be a huge impact on your workflow.
Yeah. I mean, it's, and everybody, we had a young crew, and you lose a couple people, and we're working nonstop trying to keep up, and, not trying to come, everybody thought, oh, I sold out to fly reels and I'm off doing fly reel things. And, and I'm like, no, it's like all hands on deck all day just to make our minimums, when you lose that many people. So it's been tough. And then, I mean, we've been just, we think of last year as a lot of things we learned, and we really started tuning our machines. So this year we feel really excited because right now we're producing some really good stuff, and like it's probably the best it's been, but it's also everybody's working. I mean, if it's guys are deburring reels that procure, if it's Russell doing that, or if it's somebody's running a part and doing service. So when people call and they want to talk to Will might be on a machine right now, and you have to wait for an hour to get a call back. But
I gotcha.
So all in all, it's it definitely has affected us, but we're surviving. We're excited for 2022. I mean, missing shows stinks. I mean, you don't realize for a small company how much, like, we don't sell at shows, our dealers do, but you meet so many people and they learn about the product, I think the right way. And then you don't have them. So it's kind of disconnect. Social media only goes but so far. I mean, we're all kind of burned out of it. I mean, it's like, wow, another fish picture. Great. Okay. You want to see me cut another piece of aluminum? Great. It's like, oh, you want to see a big reel? Wham, wham. Right. It's like, at the end of the day, it's like we get kind of numb to it. So, but we're excited for 2022. I mean, we're sad to hear about your situation, but like, I also get it. Like, didn't give us anybody much prep time, to take off for this next year. And it takes a lot of stuff. I mean, for your show, episodes, it's a lot of work.
Yeah. There's a lot of moving parts, that you don't think about. So, but it is what it is. I'm excited to keep going. And, and working with you guys has always been so fun. And, hopefully we'll actually get to fish again together, because I think this might have been the last time we did.
Maybe.
Because this,
I can't remember. We fished in Huntington Beach. We did.
The fly fishing on in Long Beach.
Yes.
We fly fished in Long Beach.
Street fished. Yeah. Okay.
Well, that's
it. Yeah. A lot of stuff.
We got a couple people checking in. We'll say hello to Bobby Daler Tecker. He says, "Let's get it." Bobby, that's the name I couldn't remember. Bobby, congratulations. He won the $100 gift certificate from Yak Attack last week. So congratulations, dude. Liam Young, as always, watching on Kayak Fishing Tales, our YouTube channel. So if you guys are watching on Facebook and you want to look for a different avenue to look for it, look on it for Kayak Fishing Tales or on the Kayak Fishing Show group. And I bring this up almost every week. If you subscribe to Kayak Fishing Tales or are in the Kayak Fishing Show group, you're more likely to get notified of when we go live. If you're just if you just like our page, they don't necessarily let you know that we are going live, because Facebook literally shares out our posts to less than 1% of our followers. So unless we pay, and I ain't got no money. So because my sponsors don't give me any money. Aaron, how are you? This is the fun part, is having not only Wes as a sponsor of my show, but he's also a good friend, so we can give each other a lot of grief.
Yes, a lot of grief.
Steve, how are you? Bill Edwards says, "Where do I get an application?"
Come on.
Bill, are you a machinist? Or do you want to learn how to be?
We can train you. We trained everybody else.
Yeah. And old Douglas, always watching from Brazil. Thanks, man. Ray, thank you. And Ray Kelly says hi at Wes Seigler.
What's up?
So I know, because of people are always asking, it's like, when's this going to be out? When's this going to be out? We know we teased them. And I know with just the way this last 2 years is, let alone getting production going, trying to design new stuff, it's got to be just almost impossible.
Yeah, I think it's been, we kind of just try to keep things going, and then we had to fix some things. I mean, we had to fix the operation, like how it was working and in the back, and train some new guys. So this past probably 3 months has been just reconfiguring the back. And it's actually really good now. I mean, literally, I just came off a new program for something as silly as a drag lever, and it's just smoking fast and looks insanely good. Kind of had a little meet and greet with some guys down in Florida, down in Islamorada or 7 Mile, and went down to a shop, 7 Mile Fly, and just kind of hung out. Had some really cool guys hang out with me. You got Dustin Huff and Joel Dickey and Jillian. I mean, it's like the whole crew was there. Joe, the shop manager, and we just talked about my problems. And I'm like, guys, it's like tough. They just things like machining techniques and stuff. So, I just kind of took it all in and was like, you know what, I'm going to come out this year, and every single mark, everything with our fishing reels is just improved. Little small things that maybe the customers don't see. The reels are getting lighter. Just a lot of things. I mean, we've got a big fly reel coming. We're about 2-3 weeks away, maybe a little bit more, but not much. And it's just because we're kind of getting them all dialed in. We're doing some different colors.
Wait, pause, because you already have the big fly.
Yeah, the BF, but this is XBF.
XBF.
And it's really it's just 5 inches. It's about line pickup. They wanted a certain weight. Guys, you remember you kept hearing people wanting clickers. We sat around for a while, and I said, you know what? I don't want clickers. I don't want clickers. I think they're dumb. And then finally I'm like, you know what? All right, I messed up, or I need to pick up my game and make them happy. So I made a clicker. It sounds pretty good. I mean, I think it sounds really good. If it's anything close to something it sounds like a Stella. So it's kind of gives everybody in this conventional world what sounds are. It's very, very light, but yet very teeny, kind of cool. But yet, on the conventional side, we've been working on some stuff. Yeah, definitely the star drag's been on their mind. The challenges for us is we have literally 6 people in the shop. We have 3 people in the back, and it's not hard to develop it, but production stops.
Right.
So we've been doing on weekends, and probably the next reel people are going to see is really the big reel, the big reel, like the 50 wide.
Oh, okay.
So, and the reason is we see the OS is a lot of people that know it from maybe offshore, like light offshore bill fishing. They need a reel to match that reel, but the bigger version to take on something bigger for, for around here. I mean, even y'all's way too. But we've got the material sitting there, and we're like looking at it going, all right, let's do it. I've had plenty of meetings about those ideas, things that, I know, and, talking about the changes and trying to make it totally different.
Is it still,
Yeah,
and I know we can't open it up, but is it still that direction you and I talked about before?
absolutely. 100%.
This
And
is,
even more.
and this is the most overused phrase, but it is a game changer. I mean, it's
taking 2 pounds out of a 50 wide something, so it's like, when a reel weighs 5 pounds and you take 2 of them away, it's going to simplify the reel, maintenance, pressures, all that stuff. And then it's just going to make it easier. It's pretty cool. And manufacturing wise, it's going to be even easier for us. So just some, because things get bigger when you think of a little reel. I mean, something little like something that big, and then you're like this big. I mean, it's so much easier to get a tool in it or whatever.
Oh yeah, so, I didn't think of that.
Yes, I mean, putting a big tool in something is easy. If you put a little, I mean, you've got these little teeny things trying to make these little teeny reels. But we also look at, like, at the end of the day, too, you got to look at how much something's valued, and get as much as we can for as many reels as we can make. Because honestly, sometimes it takes more time making little reels than it does big reels. So, so I think people are going to see some neat stuff. I mean, we're coming back with like old release days of having gunmetal and silver. So the silver is looking pretty cool. I really like it. So all our reels that are fly reels and our conventionals are going to have gunmetal, and then we're going to have the silver base color. I think I like it. It's something, things are cleaner looking too. It's engravings and stuff. So, but yeah,
realistically, because I mean, I know the Star Drag has kind of come in and out of talk. So
there's been 1 or 2 made.
When do you think that's going to actually realistically? Do you think that's going to happen?
It'll be an LG Nero, and we know that for sure. The SG Nero, even though you've seen it, felt it, and seen one cut, it's that would be the coolest little reel in the world, but it's just it's a harder reel to make. And to me it is. And I think the LG Nero kind of serves the more people. I'm going to make it skinny and powerful. And, it's not going to look the way, it's going to be a lot like that little SG Nero Star was, but it's going to be light. And, I don't know, trying to think about it like that. I think man, if we can get a couple of the things straight here, which I know are getting there, I love making new stuff. That's my thing. I hate fixing things. And if I fix another thing in this shop, it drives me nuts, I'd rather like sit around and draw and come up with ideas. Everybody thinks I'm like holding out. And I'm like, man, if they knew I'm using a bandsaw 42 minutes ago, cutting off things like, So yeah, definitely there's tons of stuff in the head trying to figure it out. I mean, it's just like spinning. I mean, that would, for me, even, I mean, I love picking up a spinning rod and just casting and stuff. So, I think with this spring, I think we're going to see a lot of stuff out of us, because I think the production side is a little more automation we can put here. So it'll help us.
Yeah, I'd love to see the spinner. West Coast is not a big spinning reel place, but it seems like more and more with the advent of people loving to throw poppers.
Yeah.
Spinners are better. I mean, as much as I don't like spinning reels in general, for throwing poppers, because you have that slack line you're always picking up, it's just better. What it's better for is the next cast.
Yeah, that's it.
You don't have all that loose line on a conventional reel.
And then it's a skill thing too. I mean, a lot of people, I took some friends out this weekend, and you just give them if you give them a bait caster, you're in trouble. I mean, if you're casting to dock lights or you're casting to docks, you're like, whoa. You know, you'd be fixing stuff all day. So a spinning rod, at least you're safe a little bit. So
Yeah.
I mean, those are the two things. You know, LG Nero Star, I think you're gonna see the 50 because that's kind of the goal for iCast is having the big reel ready. And maybe we bring some like if it comes around and things are all right. Definitely some signatures are going to come back. Kind of laid off. I mean, the LG Nero regular and signature, pretty neat to make that really light, and we played around with that. So,
if you guys have not seen one of the signature reels, Wes and I actually had one of the SG Nero's signatures in Alaska, and I mean, this little tiny reel was just whooping up on some big ass halibut, and I mean the reel is so light. You guys have shaved every extra ounce out of that reel. It's so cool.
That was fun. I mean, it kind of debunks the whole sealed thing because if you have good stuff in there, it doesn't matter. People are like, "Is that sealed?" And you're like, "Yeah." You see the holes in the side of it. It's like, you know, it's like, come on, guys. Or like when we walked on the boat and he was like, "What is that for?" And we're like, "Don't you worry about what that's for."
Yeah, he's like, I remember his question was, "What do you do with that pea shooter?" And I literally like, I'm gonna kick some fish's ass with it. That's what it's for.
And then we just
he couldn't believe what we were doing. I mean he had all that big stuff and giant cannonballs and that coat hanger rig and all that stuff.
I just remember looking at you going, "We got to get rid of this rope because Seigler's not gonna like that." You know?
Yeah. It was crazy. So. Wes, how long? We've already been on 23 minutes. So I think there was another. Oh, he says, I'm a quality technician.
Bring it on. Come on. I'll give you the address. Text send a message to Jim. He'll forward it to me.
There you go. Facebook user obviously is watching on the Facebook group, the show group page. You need to give that page permission to show your name. That's why it shows up as Facebook user. But he said, hello, Jim and Wes.
Hey, Facebook user.
Mike McKenna, fly reels are sick. Played with one at Bayou City Anglers in Houston.
Good shop. You know, I need to get down to Texas. I went down to Tailwaters up in Dallas, and that's the first time I've really been like fishing store, you know, traveling and checking things out. And I need to get down there, and I think everybody's gonna be happy on the side of what they're gonna see coming out in the next week or two. On that side, the refinement, every naysayer, every hater in the world, I'm serving.
Well, and I know you like to go do the like we did our Alaska thing or product testing. Yeah. Do you have your favorite product testing trip coming up again this year? Do you get to go back to Alphonse?
Yeah, well, we're going to go to Cosmo and a stove. So we're doing a double. So we got canceled for a storm 2 years ago, and then last year COVID. So we're going to, you know, one of those things we're just going to double up, and it's such a travel. So we're just going to do the 2 week and go a stove and straight into Cosmo. So pretty stoked about that. You know, we've actually booked out the whole, like the trip, like everybody on it we know. So it's going to be,
fun.
It's going to be super fun. I mean, it's the trusty old crew that we always go with, but then we've added the wild friends that we met there. And now it's going to be a good time. And I look forward to it because that's one thing. I mean, when you don't get to go on these trips, I kind of supplemented it with Florida a lot last year. And Florida's a tough fishery, but this is just, I love wade fishing and I love walking on my own and just finding my own fish. And I want you to go. Come on, Jim.
I didn't get the invite this year.
Jim, it's already booked up. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'll try to get you in like 3 years when we go. Yeah.
I got to reserve my spot now for 2028.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll be 70.
You'll be 70. You're like counting it up.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead. No, I was like the guy, one of the guys that got me into fly fishing, Lake, and his father, Bill. Bill was, I remember we were climbing out of a boat and He said, "I'm gonna walk the flats on my 80th birthday, you know, out here," and he never misses a beat. I mean, he will just walk and cast, and he's an incredible fisherman. And you know, now I think Bill now is gonna be 81 or 82 walking the flats, and
Oh, really?
and I have to yell at Lake, like, Lake, why don't you get off the boat, let your dad on the boat, but he actually doesn't want it that way. You know what I'm saying? He's super awesome and tough, and look forward to this trip because we missed out on that. But
is that in December?
Yeah, so we leave right after Christmas, so the 28th, and then I'll miss a little bit of the January shows. So maybe I'll come back tan. It's always important.
Yes, I know you're into tanning.
Tanning, right? No, it's called vitamin D. West side, people.
Ronaldson, when will you come to Brazil to fish? I have been to Brazil to fish. We fished in the Amazon basin, and we actually, unfortunately, of course, we time it when the water's supposed to be all right and everything. And it rained like a mother right before we got there, and the water was super high. So the peacocks were way back up into the bushes, and it made for a very, very tough trip. We still got them, and what an amazing place to be on. We're on the houseboat going down the river, and absolutely amazing. I'd love to go back, but I'd love to go back when the water was a little bit lower, because the thing is you would, you're casting around the trees on the banks and all that, and you could hear the big fish back in the back, splashing and hitting stuff. And it's like, okay, and you'd take a chance and make a cast up there. You'd see a seam in the trees and cast it way back up in there. And of course you got hit. And of course you immediately got wrapped around a tree and broken off. So it's like, I can't get bit, but if I do go up in there and get bit, I get broken off. So it was like, it was a tough one. Bobby asked, Wes, you ever fish for tarpon or Goliath grouper?
Yep. It's fun times. A lot of the guys at the shop, we always would go on this trip after I cast, and we'd always put somebody in the plane train where they're just like bent over and laughing. And I think we got the video of Will Gill, the non-fishing machine.
Right.
I mean, the best service person in the entire world that does not care to be outside of coming to work.
Oh my God. I haven't seen, I don't know if I've ever seen anybody as white.
That's right. And yeah, so we would always go there, and then Russell the first year got tricked into being on the pain train. So yeah, all that stuff is good fun. I mean, getting out and bottom fish and wreck fish, and it's good stuff.
And tarpon are just a kick in the butt. Those of you that watched the show last week, we had Josh Dolan on the show. He posted up some pictures because just a day or so after the show, he did go down to Florida and went shore fishing for Goliaths. And he has a picture of him with a pretty nice sized fish. So
yeah, he's crazy, man. Like, I think you remember that on this video that we were way back up there, and he said, "Now I'm going to make some content." And he's just a young kid. I'm like, "That's cool. That's cool." I mean, I'm like, "Yeah, right." So is everybody else, right? Right. And he's gone out there and just pushed. And I keep seeing him go, man, and it's amazing. Yeah. But he gets dirty. He likes mud.
Yeah,
he does. Josh knows it. And love him, man. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's what you remember. His kayak, one of the filthiest kayaks I think I've ever seen.
To Justin Mayer.
You just couldn't get all the mud off.
Right.
No. Anyway, how about we actually air this episode?
Sounds good.
Maybe. I didn't actually. Oh, I got to add it to the stream. That's it. I'm forgetting how to do things. I actually got a new computer, and I started to hook it up and swap everything over. I'm still working on my old computer, but I got the new computer here, so I got two keyboards, and I keep like reaching for the wrong one and the wrong mouse. And I have 3 monitors, but only one of them. It's a mess. Things are a little more confusing than normal, and I'm always confused.
This week on the Kayak Fishing Show, we are in Virginia. We're going to visit our good buddy Wes Seigler from Seigler Reels. He's going to give us behind-the-scenes look at how the reels are manufactured and the whole process he's got going on there. And then basically we have one day to fish. So we're gonna run and gun and just see what we can do with this one day. It's gonna be a good time no matter what. Come join us, see how we do.
Word to the wise, if your mama ain't taught you, don't stand in front of a man and a fish he ain't caught yet. Honey, if the world calls me, tell him I'm fishing. I'm going fishing. Where am I headed? Where am I headed? Where am I headed? Wouldn't you like to? Where am I headed? Where am I headed? Where am I headed? Wouldn't you like to go fishing? I'm going fishing. Woo!
Well, we're gonna go out there with the whole crew this morning. We got some of the guys from Seigler Reels. We got some of the guys from Yak Attack, and just gonna go out there and have some fun.
We're going to be traveling down to the northern neck of Virginia up to the saltwater with our buddy Wes Seigler. We'll be targeting some schoolie stripers and some snakehead later on in the day.
You know, one of the best things about having one of these Malone trailers, it makes it so easy to get your kayaks right up next to the water, and you don't have to lift the kayak up over your head and break your back. It's just right here. So we're gonna go for a little bit of paddle, see if we can get out of the wind, throw some lures, have a good time. If nothing else, fishing with these guys is always a blast. So I'm just looking forward to a fun day. Let's go.
You know, I met Justin about 2 years ago at one of our local tournaments here, and he was super friendly then, and he's a great guy now. He's got my type of goofy personality. You know, he knows how to get on the fish when he needs to get on the fish. He knows how to have a good time when it's time to have a good time. So, you know, Justin's an awesome dude. He works with Seigler Reels. He's helping the company get things done, and he's an awesome guy.
Right here, just shy of 10 feet.
Sunburn.
The fish are just above the bottom. I'm using that flat shot and just kind of kicking it off the bottom.
Monster striper.
Saw some little turns working some really small baits right here. So came around this corner. It just looks like a prime spot. Come on.
Ow.
Spiny.
Ow.
Little baby. Put some fun. I tell you what, you know what? It may look all nice and sunny, but it's been windy and chilly and this water is cold. Having good clothing like the Kokatat paddling pants keep me nice and warm, keep the sun off me, keep me from getting burned. And of course, in this cold water, definitely always have the PFD. You know, I always wear one, but particularly in cold water, you go in the water, you get in a lot of trouble. So always having on that PFD.
You can always tell the trips where the fishing's slow. There's a lot more sponsor
I'm
bumps.
fishing for stuff that would eat something like this. But on a day like today, we'll take it how we can get it.
Woo! Oh, it's another monster, eh?
Boom!
Oh,
That,
the long release.
It didn't count.
wait. I'm trying to remember now. No, I mean, this just came to mind. Didn't we actually have a competition?
For sure. There's always a
I mean,
competition.
yeah, always. But I mean, I seem to recall that we actually had a some kind of a bet or something going on between Justin and I. or maybe it was Justin and Josh and I don't remember, but I seem
There's
to recall
one.
there being a competition.
And you two guys shot out in the lead. You and Justin were in the lead. Josh was trying to keep up. I remember that.
And then there was a race.
There was a race. And I kept the ho-ho or whatever it was on a fishing rod right in front of him on my skiff and just saw who was the fastest. And that was the moment that Justin like kicked it in, and he got that kayak on plane. He wanted it so bad.
That's right.
You remember? And Josh didn't get to eat that day.
And it was for like a Hostess snowball or something.
Exactly.
Like that.
It was awesome. That was so much fun. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I said, the fishing doesn't have to be good to have a good time.
Well, I actually had a decent meter mark there of a school of fish.
Ooh, I like this.
Yeah,
This is
they're
a new.
hugging the bottom. So you can see there's a bait ball right there. There's a little stack of fish, a couple fish right there. There's definitely some fish here right on this drop off. So it sure is nice to have that dragonfly on.
No,
here,
I
just
can't see
kinda
anything on that filthy dragonfly.
verifying that there's some fish around.
It definitely was blowing, I remember.
Just another absolute monster striper here in the northern neck of Virginia.
Jim,
There it is.
trolling for Josh.
There you go.
Fish on.
I honestly didn't know this was in the episode.
Whoa, there you got it.
Hostess ties a reason one-arm paddling techniques are important.
Man, we finally got out of the wind a little bit. We're having a great time. Woo. They're not big, but they're fun. Stick around for more fun action here in Virginia. Boom.
So I guess I'm doing the spoilers. I said I haven't gone back and watched this episode at all. So the fact that we brought that, I didn't think that was in there.
That was funny though. That's the one. That was one of the best things. And to this day, when I see Josh, we always talk about it. So
That's hilarious. I think, and again, who knows if it's in the episode, but the probably one of the funniest things on the trip was sitting at your house. and Josh is like, wait a minute, were you a teacher in some way?
to Liz,
Oh,
he's like, were you a teacher? And she's like, yeah. And I remember she was pouring wine, and all of a sudden he was like, did you teach at, I forget, it was like Lakeside Elementary in Richmond. She was like, yeah. And she's like, you were Miss Seigler? And she grabbed the bottle and just started drinking, because this guy, she's like, there's no way this third grader is in, like, yeah. And then he told, yeah, so it was awesome.
That was so funny. She just like, what?
Right.
That's
how old you are.
Big old, fully grown, hairy dude was in my third grade class as my student.
Right.
That was so
That's fun though. Yeah.
This is a new.
Was that?
Go ahead.
No.
I said, go ahead.
No, no, it's like that was the first thing we actually brought up when I saw him at this Green Top event a couple weeks ago. He was like, "Can you believe that? Like,
On this
this
week's
was my
episode
teacher."
of the Kayak Show.
That was so funny. So, if you're wondering, I've never seen this before. I actually just clicked on it a few minutes ago. This is a new view of the positioning of us on the screen, because it used to be like that. So we'd be off to the side and you'd still have that background picture and the video would be playing on the side. Now it's more picture in picture. Fancy.
Nice.
It's the little things.
We are in Virginia.
Man, I look fat as hell there.
We're going to visit our good buddy, Wes
You have
Seigler,
your life
lost
jacket.
weight.
at Seigler Reels.
I have my
Bring you
life
the
jacket on.
behind-the-scenes
You
look
do.
at how these awesome reels are made. Come on. Wes, brother.
What's up?
Man, I'm so excited to be here. You know I love the reels. I'm
Roger.
dying to see how these things are made.
Come on in. Let's go see it.
Wes, dude, you got a great new little reel coming out, the new Seigler SGN, small game narrow. I've always been fascinated on what goes into making one of these reels, and I think everybody'd like to see it. So I know there's a lot more steps into it than what most people think. So can you maybe give us a rundown of how we get from, say this block of aluminum to this beautiful reel?
When people say you make reels, a lot of times they think they get this part that comes in like this and you put it together. There's a lot of steps that go between this part and this part.
A lot of hands.
Lots of hands.
If the camera pans down on here, you can see each step for each one of these different parts in the reel. And then once they're all done, they got to go to your assemblers.
That's right.
And that's more touches.
More touches. So in the assembly room, we have 3 guys. Ultimately, they all come through the final inspection where that last man cranks it, make sure it feels right. If it's smooth, if it sounds right, if the clicker's loud, all those little things that, as a consumer, you want it to work properly. But with that many hands touching it, you never, you're trying to make it the best you can, but it's still really a handmade product.
Very cool. Well, let's go look at some of the machining and how this all comes together. So this is step 1. This is where we go from here.
This is the old shop.
Yep. That's right when you came in. I was like, look at that, the old shop. I didn't even recognize out front.
Because you guys have now moved to Virginia Beach.
Yep.
Little bigger footprint.
Bigger footprint. We're probably twice as big and probably, a couple more machines. So, more automation and more, efficiencies, So, yeah, it's a little bigger and nicer. So seeing the old shop's always nice. So it's like where it all kind of started. So it's it's cool.
It's always fun to see the memory, just like for me, just watching these old videos, it kind of reminds you of these old trips and the fun we had. And like I said, I had totally forgotten about that race, and it's all good for fun.
Yeah.
If we're not having fun, why do it?
Right.
To here.
That's right. You basically break the part off, and then you carry it from this machine right across to this one. So once we come from this process here, we basically put it in the 5th axis, and it does all your drilling and tapping and your locations. At this point, it's actually a functioning reel.
Okay, where to go from there? You said you have like 2 guys in here at a time.
Correct.
That are running from taking product from one machine to the next.
Exactly. This machine right now is on a transition to be set up to do gear covers. Everybody knows the little gear cover that goes on your reel. We're actually cutting these to fit the OS, the brand new, bigger offshore small. This machine also cuts air pawls.
So those are the paws for the dog.
Exactly, the anti-reverse dog. So as you come down here, you'll see all the tooling, different collets for holding different tools. You've got different tools here. This is where everybody sets everything up.
Tools.
We're running on this machine right now. I think we're running 12 at a time, and we're running 16 at a time over there. So we're doing batches of them. Cycle time's about an hour on this, so to run that many. So
because basically it's just a small cuts. Right? So it's just repetition.
Repetition, and all you're really looking for is tool wear, parts slipping into vices. All the fixturing holds it it's accurate and repeatable. So, but you do all your criticals on the first hop, all your bearing bores and everything. So when you locate on the second, it's actually the pretty side we all see. It's not as critical, honestly. It's the bearing bores are the critical point of this thing. So you see right here, there's a spool. It comes out, the first operation still has to do a little work on the side. So you got your drag washer surface. This is for an ST. And we have to go do this little surface here for your clicker gear. That's your clicker gear. So there's the ST spool before it's anodized. That one's ready to go to anodize now. It's ready to go and turn a color, either blue, red, or silver.
That doesn't need to be tumbled, or it's already been tumbled?
No, the spools don't need to tumble. We've got a process that we can Scotch Brite the edges of them, and they're ready to go. So probably the only part that doesn't go into tumbling here.
Are you still doing custom colors, custom engraving, any of that stuff for people?
Yeah, we can do that. You know, we do batches of different stuff. You know, like when we make things flat, or we make black reels, or different colors. Sometimes we'll just send it out and get some wild colors in here. But the problem is, it still comes down to the anodizer. Doing consistent colors, like all these different ranges of them. That's the nightmare.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's super hard.
So at this point on the main case, you face this the boss off, and you put the little pocket, and then you'll see that right there where you have your clickers. And that's the last stage. Now this goes to tumbling, where it takes off. And actually, a man has to handy burr these, and then it goes into tumbling. So it's a little knife work. Pretty neat way to work. You just kind of peel it like you're peeling potatoes.
Well, apparently Wes has dropped off for some reason. Wonder if he texted me. Harry's coming back. Here's my mouse. I'm like, Wes disappeared. I was like just about to ask you a question.
I just looked at Surfline. I said, I gotta go.
Surf is up. So actually, Wes, you know, going back and watching this, has the machinery changed? Has the process changed for you guys?
Absolutely. It's I'm looking at it now going, wow, it's totally different. Like in how many tools we have, and tooling and fixturing and machines. The process definitely has changed.
I imagine it's changed a lot since you had started release reels.
Yeah.
You know,
a lot. And
that first
and
reel, I mean, didn't you start off with a single lathe and
1 mill? Now it's now it relies on the mill and the lathe, but still we have more machines, and two of the big machines just can do things over and over and over. It's way more efficient, and you don't have to it used to be the main case would be 3 steps. Now you can do it in 1, and that's just less chances of error, and guys touching, and they have to stop, set up something else. So
right.
But looking at it now, I'm like, wow, I can't believe we did it like that, right? It's like but and then how small the shop looks compared to now. The shop's way bigger, and even though it's not as many, I mean, I think we had more people then up in Burgess, but we're still outputting about it's about 350 reels a month. That's around the number. So
that's great. So you I was going to ask a question, but I totally lost it.
It's because I went away. Because I left the scene. I was like, all right, I gotta go now.
Yeah. Like
technology kicks my butt. Then you turn around and get on a crazy machine, and you're like, wow, I can't even operate my phone.
So for these things, are you more of a machinist or a computer programmer?
That's a hard thing. I mean, it's definitely programming, but you still have to know the basics of machining. I mean, you've got to know machining. You got to those program software will do whatever you tell it to do, even if it's wrong. So, and then you can't trust that. So that's been the curve. And me going in the back recently was just me tuning myself in, I just trying to master machining myself. And so now it's you have to blend them both together. So just having a good machinist would get you about as far as inspection, setting up the machine. But these new softwares, you got to know it. I mean, you just got to spend time behind the computer.
Right. And I'm sure the like the lasers you have now, you're no longer burning holes completely through the
right to China. Yeah, we burned a hole to China.
I'll never forget that.
Yeah,
I'll never. That was so funny. Wes, the machine is smoking.
Yeah, it's like they're scared to tell me. I'm like, and then I'm like, jump the desk, fly past him. I'm like, what? Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what happens, you know. You're like, I think that's the biggest thing is just make sure, yeah, that's the common sense, you know. Sometimes it's hard to find it out there. So if you want to apply, you check that box. I have common sense.
There you go. If there's a fire, maybe turn off the machine.
Yes.
Turn off the laser.
Exactly. Oh, the things we learn here, right?
And I'm just glad I was there when it happened.
Yeah, I can't believe you were there because I remember we were like sitting in my office and all of a sudden you came out and said that. And I was like, really? Yeah.
It was him.
That's exactly it. Was Sean.
It was him.
Sean right now is running some drag levers. That's the highest touch part in this shot. Right now he's running second operation.
Is it still the highest touch part in the shot?
Next step on this,
Actually, as of today, not anymore. I just made this crazy picture. So, yeah.
That little pocket calls for quite a bit of touches. So you
big hook and gaff advertisement there.
And you have to pocket it again.
That's right.
A lot of work to make a little bit lighter.
I don't have mine on.
For what we like.
That was everything, right? Oh, tumbling.
Tumbling.
So you're not actually tumbling anything at the moment.
Oh, we can.
So basically, all these reels, they're coming out of machining. They still got some sharp edges and rough spots.
Not everybody can pick up on all the little small pieces. And we know that we have these little small BBs in this little tumbler, this ceramic. Those little BBs will go on all the small plates and just knock off that last little bit of maybe a little curled piece of aluminum. We put them in there for roughly, depending on each part, every part's different. This part, main case, is about 15, 20 minutes. A fly reel, for example, is 8 hours on the spool. So quite a bit, you really want to cut every edge possible. Just put them around.
8 hours?
Yeah.
We'll just keep hanging them
we figured out how to make that faster, but wow, yeah.
Spread them out a little bit. And then let them go.
It's amazing how everybody loves to look at the tumbler.
It works great. Probably a part from 1950, 60. So cool. So
we still have it.
So right here,
that's awesome.
Shows the parts after they've been tumbled, and they're going to go to anodize. So at this point, you've deburred everything. Everything's prepared, finished. There's no marks on it. We now package it and send it to our anodizer. So once they come back from anodize, they look like this. They're gunmetal. This part here, that's a main case for an SG. We load it into our laser here and
burn a hole to China.
Get engraved, then we roll to assembly.
And you've got a new laser since then too, don't you?
Yeah. We have a really cool laser now, fiber laser, so it's real accurate.
We've got a lot of different reels made by Seigler reels. Let's talk a little about, what's behind some of your designs. Where's that whole design process that you go through?
I think the biggest thing is when you go to a show, you think you've made what you need to make. It's the finished reel. Let's go. As you saw Fred Hall, all of a sudden somebody tells us, why don't you make it narrow? Why don't you make it this bigger, smaller? I catch
star.
Fish. When that happens, things go off in my head. That's why I love consumer shows. I can hear the problems a man might say, my clicker's not loud enough. First thing I try to do is figure out how can I make it louder? Because when you hear the feedback, that's when you can make changes for designs. During that process, all our model reels in this room, generally they all use or very similar parts, many general parts. Keeping things consistent but evolve. I think that's what you've seen in the past.
Well, yeah, for sure. And the fact that you are involved in the communities, you're always getting that feedback, and you are the one designing the reels.
That's right.
So
ultimately, you try to make the best thing for everyone, the consumer. We don't want them to be, disappointed that he spends all this hard work, hard money they've earned, and they get this thing and it's not what they thought. I mean, we don't make false claims. We just try to make the best product we can and stand behind it and help the customer. Biggest thing is just let us know if you have an issue. I mean, we wouldn't have a warranty if it was perfect. So
Lifetime warranty.
that's right. So
Is that still true?
Lifetime warranty
Still true.
in the USA. 100%. Well, 99.9.
Just wash it, please.
So
Right.
just about everything from our gears to, everything except for bearings in this reel are made in the United States. So.
It's awesome. Well, now you've seen how Seigler Reels goes from this to this beautiful product. Now we get to go play with them, see how they do. Let's go.
Let's do it.
You don't make a reel small enough for those stripers we were catching.
No.
Oh, maybe the fly reel.
Yeah, maybe. It's still that's the
It's
problem.
still-
That's why you need a spinning reel or something, Then you can be exclusive.
And then
Yeah.
once you
And
get
just-
there, across there, there's off that other point. You see those white things on that dot.
Well, today we basically came out here to see Wes Seigler of Seigler Reels and get a tour of his factory. And we knew we'd have one day afterwards to go fishing. So we knew there wasn't going to be a whole lot of things going on, just maybe some small stripers and maybe some other stuff. So we've just tried to make it fun. And that's what I love about coming fishing with guys like this. If you can have a good time out here catching puny little fish and just laughing all day, sometimes that's better than catching big fish. Big fish can get you all stressed out and just changes your attitude, tournaments, all that, get you all stressed out. But just to be hanging out with guys, having a friendly competition and just laughing all day, catching small fish, I'll take that. I'll take that any day. It's a good time.
Jim was kind of having a rough week, and we really didn't want him to feel bad at the fact that he couldn't keep up with us catching fish. So we just kind of kept quiet every time we caught one. And I actually caught a 37-incher today, but I didn't let the camera guys or anybody know because I didn't want anybody to have sour feelings towards me. This was my first opportunity on television, so I didn't want to show anybody up. I just wanted to stay in my place, stay in my lane.
Right.
3 hours. Still solid block of ice in there.
It's because it was 48 degrees.
There we go.
Salmons is on the board.
If he can actually land it. It's a lunker. It's on the boat. It's on the boat. Woo!
We were hidden in that cove because it was blowing
Yeah.
so hard. And look at your flag.
Yeah.
It's
I know.
we tucked
Look at
around.
there.
Get in the boat.
No.
Yeah. We've got a very, very intense competition here, but I lead 2 fish to none at the moment. Boom. Monster stripers in Chesapeake Bay. That's why you come here. Let's get this guy released.
It's just flat.
It's all part of the competition. All I can say is if you're fishing with Wes, you gotta watch your back. So being a paddler, particularly in the windy conditions we've had here, it's really important for me to have the right equipment for paddling. I love having my Werner paddle, my Werner Callista. It's just such an excellent paddle. The boat, of course, I'm a paddler. Again, I want a paddler's fishing boat, and that's why I use the Jackson Kayak Kraken 15.5. Some guys like the smaller boat. I love the glide I get from that 15.5. The other guys, they're both bigger guys, so they've been using the Jackson Kayak Big Tuna, which is actually a tandem that can be used as a single. Both of these guys being bigger guys, like Justin pulling in right now, he's able to use this boat as a single, and it supports his weight and all the gear that we like to carry. So those are the boats we've been using here in Virginia. Check them out.
Check them out.
What's going on? Round 2. Where are we?
We're at the head of the Great Wacomico River. We're trying to catch a snakehead because Justin is a snakehead expert. So stay tuned. We'll see what we catch.
Nothing.
Nothing.
I hate snakeheads. This is, and then it took
Those
him.
fish, They
Years
jump out
to
of the
figure it
water
out.
sounds so weird. They're fucking little rattlesnakes.
Yeah.
They Unless I
I remember
bonked
that.
against a branch, but it felt more like a hit.
I think this
There
is
was,
where you.
it actually got a little bit prettier once you got way back there, but and deeper.
It was super
There's no
pretty
back
back
there.
there.
Yeah.
I remember that paddle
no
was
fish
absolutely
here.
beautiful.
Except for a little pretty.
Yeah, it's a little rattlesnake fish.
We tried to go find this elusive snakehead fish. All we did was stir up a lot of mud, and but we had some fun. Had a great time. You know, enjoyed him being out here. Wish he was here longer.
Well, apparently, I am the champion of giant striper fishing. Oh man. Hey, we had a great time out here. Lots of fun with these guys. It's tough fishing, you know. We knew it was going to be, but we still had fun. And you know, bottom line, if you're not having fun, why be out here? So we had a good time, and can't thank Wes enough for his hospitality and showing us his factory, and Josh for hanging out with us, and Justin for hanging out with us and letting me whoop their butts. So join us next week for more fun action on the Kayak Fishing Show.
Yeah, that was cold. But that was a good time. I mean, you know, when you with those little fish though, and that the thing is, there's such an inside joke about these snakehead. I mean, it was the early days of snakehead, and Justin always wanted to spend time snakehead. I mean, it was snakehead. Whenever you go in the back, he's like, "Oh man, I think I see a spot. There's gonna be snakehead." We never stopped talking about him. So we went back there again. I've told him I'll never snakehead fish with him ever. And I think like it was probably 2 years ago he might have got into snakehead for the first time, and he was doing. I was like, wow, a lot of time. He put the time in for sure. But yeah, April in Virginia inshore fishing is a tough one, you know. So
Well,
fun.
I'm gonna drop us both out just really quick. That photo right there, I'm leaning in. So here's the backstory. I mentioned it. You always got to watch out for Wes. So I lean in there. We were sitting there talking. I think I grabbed something to eat or a water bottle or something. And then I paddled away and went fishing and continued fishing for the rest of the day, maybe an hour or 2 hours. I don't remember. Get to shore, and I'm missing a fishing rod. And for the life of me, I'm like, oh my God, I lost a rod. I never lose a rod. I guess I had it on the deck all these different things going through my head. And this son of a bitch, when I was leaning over talking to him, I don't know if it's as I paddled away or whatever, he had reached up and grabbed one of the rods off the back of my boat and then set it down inside the skiff. And didn't say a word, didn't say anything until I'm searching all over for that. I'm like, maybe I left it on the beach. Maybe like,
I think at one point you're like, I'm gonna go way back, and I was like, no, we gotta tell him. I gotta tell him. But we thought you were gonna like reach back to get a different rod and be like, where's my rod? But it didn't. You didn't do it, so it went on way too long. But yeah, you gotta have fun out there. It's part of it, and you know, it doesn't matter what we're doing. It's like, you know, anytime we go out fishing, I'm always. You know, I hate when people get off. These micro competitions are fun, but the other ones, yeah.
I mean, I like big fish. I'm all about big fish, but
Yep.
I mean, I go here into San Diego Bay and fish for spotted bay bass with my buddy Matt, and it's a competition. Right. When we're out on the boat, who could pick up the most Mylar balloons becomes a competition.
Yep.
And and I don't like tournaments at all. I'm not into tournament fishing. But your little competition between you and your buddies, it's always there every time. Josh Dolan says we need to do it over again.
we need to do it.
Need to do it. We need a do-over. Yes. Josh, we definitely need a do-over, and I think we actually talked about that in spring. We're not coming back in whatever time of year this one was.
We need to do it in August. August would be a good time here. It's,
There you
we
go.
cobia fish. You can do a lot of things.
Bill Edwards says, I'm just amazed at the process and the fact it's American made. I'm sold big time. Yeah. 100% American made, other than the bearings.
Yeah.
But you're using the best bearings.
Yeah, that you can get. I mean, that's probably the weakest link. I mean, it's just bearings. So yeah, we try to get the highest grade bearings we can get. I mean, even our grease, you name it. So yeah. And if something goes wrong, you just take care of it.
Yeah. And that's it. I mean, the customer service, I've never heard a complaint on customer service. And if I had, it's usually a misunderstanding or something. Our buddy Egowitz is watching in Spain. How you doing, Egowitz?
Hey.
He is the proud owner of Seigler Reel.
Awesome.
I helped him get one of those. Josh Dolan. I need a 50 wide for these Goliaths, Wes. I'm checking in from the water. Oh, are you still in Florida, Josh? I saw you did post a picture with one of those Goliaths, so that's very, very cool.
We could get him something.
He certainly puts stuff to use.
It does.
So, Wes, really
Yes,
appreciate
sir.
your time, man.
We can get you out of here soon.
Or you out here?
Yeah, I might do that.
How's the weather in Virginia right now?
It's like 70, so that's nice.
We had torrential rain last night, and now it's about 75, 80 degrees outside and beautiful. So
do you save that water? You just hear about it.
Yeah,
no
save
water
save
the water.
The drought, California drought.
Yep.
Well, we won't get into the whole politics of that.
Love it. Just hang in there. Just,
all right,
man,
Wes.
hopefully we'll get together soon, and otherwise, like maybe Fred Hall or something. Who knows?
Yeah, hopefully.
Did you do it?
Who knows? Yeah, no, who knows what's going on with that too? It's like our friend Mike Lum is no longer there, and they've kind of disappeared. So if not that, maybe the ISE shows or something. I don't know, but we got to get together. And is that beeping at your end?
Yeah, it's called machines. It's called how it's made. Made in America. That whole part of it. Yeah, that's what you go to sleep at night and you hear beep 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 beep. Yeah, it's like a nightmare.
All right, man. Well, if
bud.
people want to see the Seigler reels, it's Seigler.fish.
Fish.
Seigler.fish. And of course, he's all over Instagram and the Facebooks and all over the World Wide Webs.
Well, thank you, Jim. And we'll catch
brother.
up very soon. All right.
Yeah, man. Good. Don't next time you say you're going to call me, don't wait a month.
I'll try not to.
Well, everybody, thanks so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. It's always a good time catching up with Wes. I hope you enjoyed seeing how the reels were made. Like I said, I love going back and watching these old episodes and just reliving the good memories. So we'll see you again next week. If you are going out on the water, please remember, always wear your PFD and keep your paddle right side up. Y'all take care.
Word to the wise, if your mama ain't taught you, don't stand in front of a man and a fish he ain't caught yet. Honey, if the world calls me, tell him I'm fishing. I'm going fishing. Where am I headed? Where am I headed? Where am I headed? Wouldn't you like to? Where am I headed? Where am I headed? Where am I headed? Wouldn't you like to go fishing? I'm going fishing.